Hello again! Today's episode of Culture Beyond COVID leads us to Portugal and the performative arts sector as we're talking to Ana Pinto Gonçalves, who is from a national theatre in Lisbon. Listen carefully and learn about her ideas to change the allocation and distribution of cultural funding. Here we go!
Hello, my name is Ana Pinto Gonçalves. I'm currently working as a fundraising and sponsorship manager in the cultural area, specifically in Teatro Nacional D Maria II, which is one of the national theaters in Portugal, the one in Lisbon. Actually, to answer your question, I'm going to go a little bit from the beginning of my experience at Teatro Nacional D Maria II. I started in early 2018 working there because they needed to actually create a structure for the fundraising area. And this happens because in Portugal, fundraising for the arts is, it's not the norm, it is an exception. So we have some institutions that do it, but there's not a lot of it, and people are not used to giving money to culture. So we still have a long way to go. So I started in early 2018 with setting out the strategy for the fundraising area, specifically focusing on corporate. And we're working corporate at the moment, and we're thinking about individual fundraising for the future. But actually 2020 came, and with all these pandemics and the situation, it actually slowed down the process a little bit. Well, when we broke out, we were having very interesting audience numbers, and everything was going quite well. So when we had to close the theater, it was a bit, sad on one side, and also frightening, because we were thinking, how can we work this out? What can we do to stay close to our audiences and also to our partners, which was my main concern. Actually, I think we really were lucky, and our partner stays on board. We actually started doing some online programming with videos from shows that we had previously recorded, and also working for specific audiences. So we had the normal program, which was called Sala Online, for the adults, for all the audiences, but mainly for an adult audience. And then we started working the kids, the young and the children segment, with reading with short stories that were read by actors, and we had it every Saturday and Sunday. For this specific program, which was called Salinha Online, we brought in our main partner, and this was one of the ways to get them involved in our activities, the ones that we could do actually. And then we worked further on with a program specially designed for the World Children Day, which we had also the stories, but then we had a special play for children, and a live on Instagram with poems being read by children for everyone. And also a special program on Portugal Day, which is the 10th of June, where we had an actor that works with the theater reading the Lusíadas by Luís de Camões, which is a huge, a huge book. It's an odyssey, actually, and it was really good to see how we could work like this and create some alternatives to our physical presence and to having the audience inside our halls. Actually, one thing, I didn't have that much time to think things over because I was actually quite busy, or even during the lockdown. But I was thinking a little bit more and trying to have an overview of what we are doing in culture across Europe. And one thing that really popped into my mind was that we are not at the moment concerned with sustainability and the impact that our activity has and the impact that the support programs like Creative Europe have, because they work at a level where the intersection between different countries and institutions is a must-have. And it is important because it's a way to move the cultural sector forward. But I think we should actually take a step back and think about the consequences it has, because there are a lot of traveling, a lot of meetings in person that are done that maybe we actually do not, we can do it in a different way. I don't believe in a full digital solution for culture or for these programs, because I think that the physical presence is a thing that it's a characteristic of what we do actually in the performative arts more than and most of it of the other arts, but actually it's quite important. And that moment where you're in front of the stage or in front of the screen is really, really important. And it's the moment where you can capture your audience attention and really make a difference. But we really need to think, how can we do it and be more sustainable in terms of the environment and also economically speaking, saving some money and maybe allocating these funds to a more individual approach, to a more solidar approach, where you're thinking about the artists that don't have the capacity to apply for a fund in Creative Europe, because, well, most of the programs are for institutions, and actually the artists individually cannot apply to them. So making a little a mix and match between culture and creative sector and also funding, I think that we should try to create some local regional hubs that can, you know, do like a mediation between the national level and the European level. Trying to create a network that really works as a support for every artist. Also thinking a little bit about how can we redistribute the funds, you know, to strengthen the support of individual artists that have been really, really harmed by this program. And then one thing I actually, because I have studied all quite some of the European funding programs, although we're involved in Creative Europe in the theater, but I have looked at the other programs, and I think they need to be a little bit more complementary in terms of working in areas they can support, well, in the terms that they can support areas that are not foreseen in some of them, if they can work together to build a stronger creative and cultural sector for the future. So if I had to do like a sum up of what I think that the cultural sector should be in the future, I believe that two words would be in order, and it would be solidarity and sustainability.
Thank you, Ana Pinto Gonçalves, for letting us know about your point of view and the situation in Portugal. I think there is not much to add to your very clear closing statement. So, first of all, let's hope that there is also enough solidarity with the cultural and creative sector to provide it with sufficient funding and support to recover from the ongoing pandemic and its severe consequences. And then let's hope we will see a lot of new approaches and projects of cultural and creative organizations incorporating and tackling topics such as solidarity and sustainability.